Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 30th day of September 2019. Well, last time we started out looking at the pendulum, and I noticed when I went back at the looked back at the maybe I can use my iPad for kind of support here. To kind of support my arm on. No, that's not going to work either. Anyway, the last time I did it, I noticed that every time I breathed, my body kind of moved. It made it look like my arms were moving, and they weren't. So let me see if I can find something here to just try to. I don't really have anything that can support. Maybe I'll just do it here on the laptop. See if I can push this back a little bit. All right. So I'm going to hold this up like this, but you see, you can't see it, I don't think. There you go. All right. We'll let it come to a stop. Oh, come on, come to a stop. So I've been reading that some people are saying that Donald's going to resign by the end of the year. Nope. Will the House impeach him? Oh, look at that. Yep. Oh, that's that. Look at that. Look at that swing. How about that? Will he strike a deal to save his children? Well, how about that? Will he go to prison? Oh. Well, that's what we have for today. We'll check in next Monday and see if it changes at all. I only go from, at this moment. This is what it's saying at this given moment. And I realize that kind of hedges my bets a little bit, but, ultimately, I know how I want this to end up. I don't know that it's necessarily going to happen that way. But I know what I would like to see happen. I think that justice has to happen, and I don't think it's ever happened. I don't think him being there currently reflects any amount of justice. So, because I don't think he actually won the election. But that's just me. Yes, it was certified in his favor, but that doesn't mean he actually won. So, and I think in time we're gonna find that out. But in any event, I just want to check. I want to do it weekly. I don't want to do it every day because that'll drive everybody crazy. It's like, oh God, here we go again. But at the same time, I would like to see just what the energies are saying. And that's what they're saying. They've been saying this. It's never said anything but this. So, I try to make sure every time that I'm not influencing it in any way. So that's why this time I stuck my arm on my laptop here to try to make sure, because it really looked like when I looked at the video, because I always check these before I post them, and it really looked, and I realized what I was doing. I had my hands here on my stomach, and I was holding it like this, right? But every time I breathe, it moves. So ultimately it didn't affect the swing, so at least it's staying consistent, and it always has. So I don't know, it's just going to take time, I guess. But anyway, I have not put up today's correspondence and astrological information. I try to do that most days of the week, at least through the week, sometimes not on the weekends. But in any event, I haven't done that yet. I'm going to do that here shortly after I do this video. I'll post that as well on the blog over there at imsteppingaside.com. But there are other things up on the blog. The weekly Rune and Moon, for one, that's up. That went up yesterday. There's also a couple of additional tarot readings, one with the Paulina Tarot, which is really cool. If you've not seen that one, it's all mystical and fairy-like, and it's neat. It's just I mean, it's a non-traditional deck, so you have to really know your tarot to be able to actually use a deck like that. Otherwise, you don't really, I don't know how you interpret it, based on traditional tarot influences. So you have to know those, I think, to be able to really interpret non-traditional decks. A lot of tarot readers won't use them. I mean, they might use them privately just for fun, but they don't usually use them because it's when you read tarot, you're used to the Rider-Waite types of impressions, and so when you step outside that and you go to the Thoth tarot or some of the pagan decks like Wildwood and Druidcraft and the Wild Unknown, Kim Kranz has done two. One's an animal oracle and one's a Wild Unknown. And man, that is, I don't have the animal deck yet. I don't think I bought that yet. But I do have the Wild Unknown. And she's a Portland artist. And oh my God, what a cool deck. If you don't have that one and you do tarot, get it. It's all pen and ink drawings, mostly black and white. The color in it is elemental only, it seems like. And it is so cool. Anyway. But my point is that when you use these non-traditional decks, you still have to know your tarot. Otherwise, it's a little hard to know where they're going with it. So, in any event, that's there if you want to check that out. And because tomorrow's the 1st, the monthly tarot reading will go up here today or tomorrow or something. And then I also have to do a monthly geomancy reading, and that'll also go up today or tomorrow. So that will get us current. The moon's in Scorpio today, and the first house of self and identity. Adaptability is high, but so is emotions in flux. And, so maybe greed, jealousy, envy, some either or thinking, very black and white, can't really see the shades of gray maybe today. That happens, though, when emotions are high. The other thing that's happening is we've got Mercury, Venus, the Sun, and Vulcan all in the 11th house and Libra, so relationships are in balance in terms of relationship structures are also appearing today. Here's the thing. Let's take a look at a couple of aspects there. Venus square the Saturn. Now, that's a strong aspect. That suggests some reassessment of relationships. And Mercury square Pluto might make that whole experience fairly intense, also coupled with the moon in Scorpio. So relationships, may need, Vulcan is also in the 11th house and in Libra. So you're talking about, and because it's in retrograde, you're talking about inner work. And so breaking through things. Vulcan is think about Vulcan as a catalytic planet, whether it's an actual planet or an asteroid or a broken up planet. We're not sure yet. But in esoteric astrology, it's considered, and I like to consider it because it basically talks about breaking through things and disruption, but with respect to transformation, not just for the sake of destroying, but for the sake of something better to come along. And so when you see it, in the house of relationships, in the 11th house, you're talking about how can we restructure our relationships so that they're better and more harmonious. But anyway, the Sun opposite Chiron suggests a clearing out or letting go of painful memories. So I think all in all, what we're talking about today is maybe the opportunity for some transformation or taking another look at how we relate and interact to one another. See if there's a way that we can find a way to maybe break through any log jams or conflicts that we've been having, and to try to get out on the other side of that towards something that more reflects, shared purpose. So that's kind of what's going on astrologically today. That's all going to go up today in the daily correspondences and astro information. So look for that on the blog as well. Over there at imsteppingaside.com, and subscribe if you like. I'd love you to do that. If you haven't already, I don't send you anything. I don't keep lists. I don't keep email lists or anything like that. I'm not going to capture anything. So it's bad enough I'm running ads on the thing. But in any event, and if you haven't been here before, welcome. Thank you so much for coming by. And if you're back, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you haven't clicked subscribe here yet, please do that. I'd love you to. And come back. And again, I don't put you on lists, but join our tarot and room family and come and share this time with us and learn a little bit about runes and tarot and how it might influence your life and maybe make you consider things you hadn't thought of before. And comment if you like. I'd love you to do that. Ask questions. If you have your own interpretations, please leave them. You never know. I say this because you just don't know. Someone watching, if they go and they read that, they might say, oh my gosh, that absolutely opens up everything I've been trying to figure out lately. So you just don't know the impact you might have. So please share. That's what this is all about. So I don't have all the answers. I don't claim to. And those of you without a liberal bias will say, well, yeah, she's liberal. She couldn't possibly be objective. I can be objective. I'm a Libran. I just like things to be in harmony. And I like things to be in shared purpose. That's all. So for me, it's not either or. It's not, conservatives or liberals. It's one family. And these are just, liberals have conservative views on things. Conservatives have liberal views on things. To think that we are one or the other is silly. So there. Let's go ahead and take our first card. Oh, and what I'm going to do, I did this last time, and I think I liked it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the 13th card each time I put a card down, but I'm going to do that 3 times and then get started. I'm not going to do it one and talk and then do another one and talk. I'm not going to do it that way. I liked how it flowed a little bit better last time, and then we'll decide at the end if I need a 4th card, and then if I don't, then I'll go ahead and I'll take the rune out of the Elder Futhark bag. And then I will, what fell on the floor? Oh, just a candle. And then I will create a geomancy rune to end it with. So, and we're going to throw a card. So what was it? Judgment. Something we need to be very careful of. Got to get the facts. But sometimes you got to make a decision, don't you? So anyway, keep that in mind. The rule of thumb is if you drop a card, that's your card. So just keep that one in mind, maybe as an overall thing. We'll see if we draw it again. Let's go ahead and draw our first 3 cards. And I will tell you each time I've got the Ace of Wands first. So the beginning of new creativity. Aces are about beginnings. They reflect the number 1. So unity, wholeness, new beginnings. Wands is the fire element, so it's about our will and creativity, sometimes intuition, although intuition can be reflected in the air element and also water. But typically it's fire. Let's do another card. We have the Ace of Pentacles, so new foundation, new manifestation, something to do with physicality, so job, maybe, new home. A new way forward together. Let's see if we get another ace. Well, we have the 10 of Swords. So we have intellect, we have creativity, and we have the physical, our physical presence. So fire, pentacles, earth, and swords is air. But what we also have is numerologically, we have ones. So we have a run on ones. I'm not going to do a 4th card. The 10 of Swords, I'm going to start with that one, because we're actually going to put that one first. And that's the other thing. In readings, you can move your cards around. They don't, unless you're using a specific spread, like the Celtic cross or past, present, and future, or something like that. That's like a 3-card spread that's past, present, and future. If you are specifically assigning a category to each position, that's one thing. But even with that, you have some flexibility. If it just doesn't make sense, you can move it around. But when they're not, when it's just a free-flowing type of lay down cards, move them around because they need to talk to one another. They need to make sense. They need to flow. Sometimes it can be that you're going along and then something happens to interrupt the flow, but that's usually pretty obvious in a reading. But today, I think what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to move the 10 of Swords to the beginning and leave the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles in the order that I drew them. So we're going to look at this first. We see a mountain scene in the distance. We see either the sun rising or the sun setting. It looks like the sun is setting on things. We've gone as far as we can go here. We're dead on the ground, pierced by 10 swords. Swords is about communication. It's about our intellectual presence. It's about reason. You could say that we've gone as far as we can go collectively here, and now we need a new beginning. Inherent in the 10 is both endings and beginnings. It's the end of illusion. It's darkest before dawn. There's something here, though. Oh, don't ignore instincts. Lots happening. Focus, center, align, no. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I couldn't remember if that was the 9 or the 10. Here, it really depicts the end of illusion. Everything we thought, it's just not true. Now, whether this applies to what we're dealing with collectively or whether this just applies to, an individual, maybe we've been thinking certain things that just aren't so, and maybe it's caused just some real drama in our lives. Swords, unfortunately, is the drama suit, and anytime intellect gets involved, we start chattering, we start judging, and we drew the card. I threw the card of judgment on the floor. So basically, there's been a lot of chatter, a lot of whether it's coming from other people, whether it's lies other people expect you to believe, or lies you've told yourself. With the 10 of Swords, we're looking at the end of illusion, basically. Kind of darkest before dawn. Here we don't see the sun coming up, but if we look at it, it's darkest before dawn. Then what we're looking at is the sun is starting to awaken everything. We're starting to have a little bit of awakening here. We don't see the sun yet, though. But here, and I do want to put the wands next. I want to put creativity and our will next, because to get out of this, to awaken from the illusion, okay, it's going to take some will and some creative thinking on our part. Here we have a recurrent theme. You'll see it in the next card as well. A hand reaching out from the clouds, offering a crude club or wand. New creativity, new awareness, just new everything. New manifestation. New ideas. Although that's kind of swords, but still, this is the manifestation of something new on the horizon. But the cloud, the recurrent theme, is the hand reaching out from the unknown. You could say it's reaching out from spirit, couldn't you? Again, the same sort of thing. Only in this case, we are looking at a new way forward. It's implied in the other card, and I'll show you where. Okay, you see the winding river there? You see the peak, how it goes up? Well, how about how it goes up? I'm having to do things backwards. I'm not coordinated. I have a black belt in Kempo. I don't know why I can't do this. I really don't know why I can't do this. But you'd think that I'm fairly coordinated because I actually really am. Um, I'm really good with timing, all of that stuff. Anyhow, but you can see how the little river or creek is sort of wandering through, trying to find its way, right? That's what we're trying to do after this, after the end of illusion. We're trying to find our way. We're trying to create our will sort of enlighten us maybe, or light our path. And here we have the same sort of thing, hand reaching out from the clouds, from spirit, holding a very large coin or a pentacle. Pentacles is about our physical manifestation in form. It's the earth element. And so it's boundaries, it's our work, our career, our legacy, our Akashic record, our past lives, anything having to do with our life, our home, our family, just basically our physical structure, our physical foundation that our body interacts with on a daily, in our daily life, right? Everything else is our will or fire, it's our intellect or air, or it's our emotions or water. Okay, that's how we operate. But the earth element or pentacles in the case of tarot, that's our physical manifestation in life. That's how we live. And here we see another path, don't we? We see mountains in the distance, and so there might be challenges, but we're well prepared for them. We have a better foundation now that we've let go of the illusion that was plaguing us for so long. We can go forward in shared purpose together, because that's the implication of Pentacles. It isn't just about us individually, it's about the collective experience that we have as well together. There you see the hedgerow, if you want to call it that, with an arched way there that's all done with greenery. It's what I'm hoping to achieve with the entryway to my dome greenhouse. The dome is not covered, it's just got netting, and so what I'm hoping that I can do is grow my grapes over the top of it, and so far that's happening. And so over the top of my entryway to my dome greenhouse are grapes, and it was so cool because the grapes were falling through it was just the coolest thing ever. We got a lot frozen, have them in smoothies. But implied in the Ten of Swords, what we have here is new beginnings, new awareness, letting go of illusion, to where that we can manifest something new in shared purpose with one another, to take that path together as more and more truth comes out and more decisions have to be made. We're going to have to come together and make these decisions. It can no longer be us versus them. We're going to have to understand the truth that is before us, the profound truth that is before us. And we're just going to have to let go of any judgment of one another, throw it on the floor like I did, put it where it belongs, leave the judgment somewhere else, leave it with the experience of the Ten of Swords. And then at some point, we're just going to have to be focused on the road ahead and view the last few years as an anomaly that we don't want to recreate ever again. I think if we can just all do that, then I think the way forward will be clear, and I think that it will be heavily populated with all of us, manas, self and society. The 20th rune of the Elder Futhark, a 2 energy, balance, polarity, but polarity and balance. I'm going to draw this out for you, though, because I want you to see that that this is really an earth element rune. It's about, let me get a piece of paper to do that on. So I'm dropping everything everywhere. I have a very small area to turn around in here, and I don't want to set myself on fire. So there you go. because some of my candles aren't in these tall, jar-looking things. I sure like those, though. It sure makes it a lot safer in this little cubicle area that I'm in. But Manaz is basically Vunio. I'll draw Manaz out first. I never do a very good job with it. I can't get the X's correct, and I can't get the spacing right. But you can see that's Manaz. But here what we have Vunio forward and reversed. Oops, I'll do this way here. I'll try it again. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing okay. So we have Vunio, which is like the letter P, forward and reversed, and Vunio is about fellowship and joy and harmony. In the middle, we have Gebo, which is balanced energy exchange with others. You see that? We also have Laguz, which is flow, forward and reversed. So inner and outer. And we also have Kenaz, and I will draw it up here at the top. That's the torch, or the light of spirit expressed outward, but we have it expressed in all directions, basically with the expression of Gebo in the center. So we have the light of spirit informing everything with the rune Manaz. So just basically think about, mankind or humanity when you see Manaz. That's what it's really about. And that's what we're talking about here. We've gotten so far apart, in our relationships with other people, whether it's been, the catalyst has been the political situation going on, or whether it's just simply we have difficulties in relationships. The bottom line is what we need to understand is that we are the creator expressed into form, and as such, we are one. Okay, everyone else that you think, oh, I don't like that person, oh, that's something I would never want to be. It is a possibility in a lifetime that you could be like that, right? So you could choose to have that experience. To think that we come into this life as an accident, it's just not true. We do it with intention. We do it with an overall theme. We bring our soul group with us, who our parents are going to be, who our friends are going to be. It's just one of those things, right? So we're all one, whether we think we are or not. And so we can try to be at odds with one another here, but just as water seeks its own level, so does humanity. And ascension will happen whether we want it to or not. We will spiritually transcend to higher densities, lesser densities and higher dimensions. We'll say it that way. Because as you ascend, you become lighter, less dense. So lesser densities, higher dimensions of experience. So we can do that in the full awareness of the creator within, and understand that when we see other people, irrespective of what we might think about them, we're just seeing the other side of self, right? That's all we're seeing. If we could look at that in a way, as I drop the card of judgment on the floor, if we drop judgment, basically, drop the judgment of other people, perhaps we can find the shared purpose again that we have with one another. But let's see what the geomancy rune has to say. And since I threw my magnifying glass on the floor, that's not going to help me. So this is put in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. So I've got Karser. So Karser, I'll show you what that looks like. Karser is one of those runes that I guess the geomancers of old, say in Agrippa's time, if you create certain geomancy runes, Kata Draconis is one, I think Rubius is another, Karser is another, then you're to end the reading, to destroy everything. And I'm just thinking, well, they were guys, and I don't know. I'm not sure women would have ever, anyway. So this is Karser. I mean, it kind of looks like a little cage, doesn't it? Like imprisonment, doesn't it? That's the thing about carcer. It's really it can mean imprisonment or restriction from outside influences, but all too often the restriction happens from within. We judge our ways ourselves into places uh, that keep us apart from others. Oh, well, I don't like that person, so I'm not going to go and be around those people. And sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes there just is too much difference, right? Sometimes individual differences are just too much. You don't have anything in common with people. So it's just one of those things. If there's nothing there to find that commonality, then maybe you don't try. But maybe you should. Maybe the carcer is the self-imprisonment that we do every single day of our lives. It's what we did here until all 10 entered our backs, and we can no longer ignore the illusion. And that's the part about carcer, really. It's self-imprisonment. It's an illusion. I mean, you look at people that are in prison and they find a way to live there. Say they're going to be there the rest of their lives. They find a way to make that their life. So in one sense, they're being imprisoned by others, but perhaps spiritually they're free. You look at political prisoners or religious prisoners, what have you. These are people that are there for another purpose. And so perhaps even though within the confines of what other people are doing to them, within that they've found a way spiritually for their soul to fly free. And that's really what's they're asking for release here. Release from the prison of judgment, release from the prison of self. So we're going to put this carcer right on top of the 10 of swords. Maybe we'll put it first. Or we could put it second if we wanted to do things in order. But if we look at the geomancy rune as an outlier and sort of the underlying thing, and if we align it with judgment, you can see how self-imprisoning judgment can be. And we have a chance here with the 10 for new beginnings. Together we have a 3 energy, aligns with today's energy of 3 being the 30th day of the month. So you're looking at a synchronicity here between the card numerology and the day's numerology. So you're looking at manifestation, mind, body, spirit, and balance, alignment. I think that this is really, again, whether this has to do with what's happening to us collectively or what's happening in your own personal life. Perhaps you've just been operating under some illusion lately and it's been keeping you imprisoned, from others and not really being able to function in a way that preserves relationships and keeps harmony in your life and all of that. I think with the astrological information for today, where Mercury, Venus, Sun, and Vulcan are both in the 11th house and in Libra. Again, it really brings relationships into focus and lets us know that even though things have been dicey, which may be a kind way to put it, we have the ability right now to break through all of that and just to let it go. And allow for the healing to take place, allow for forgiveness of self and others to take place, and to allow but really mostly to forgive yourself. Because here's the thing, not only do we imprison ourselves with judgment, but we imprison others as well. So if you were to view this as Democrats versus Republicans, or those that voted for him and those that didn't are going to have to forgive the ones, right? But what are you really forgiving them for? They might have made a choice that, started something here, but do you need to forgive them for that? Can't this just ultimately be something that we all decided to experience together and we all came out in the right place on it? Can't that be what this is? I don't know. October's upon us tomorrow. The month of Libra, the month of balance, the month of bringing everything into harmony. I think we can do it. So anyhow, I will see you tomorrow. Please click subscribe and come back. I'd love you to do that. And do check out the blog, Stepping Aside, over at imsteppingaside.com. Again, the correspondences and astro information are going to go up today here in a little while. As soon as well, actually, while I watch this, I'll probably go ahead and write it up then. And just think about how you relate to one another today. Again, if emotions are high, being that it's the moon in Scorpio, just kind of take a back seat if you need to, and just sort of, take a few breaths, 10, 20 if you need to, and just try to stay as calm as you possibly can with people, and see the best, always see the best. So in any event, or at least just don't see anything at all, maybe just stay dispassionate and in observation mode if you can. So, and try to figure out a way to work through whatever dramas that are currently happening in your life. So in any event, I will see you tomorrow. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.